Do you like not overthinking? Do you enjoy not having to listen to the voices in your head telling you that you're not good enough? Do you like pina coladas and getting caught in the rain? Well, this week I'm going to be talking about how to stop negative thoughts and sabotaging yourself through overthinking. So that should hopefully help you with 2 out of those 3 things. As for the pina coladas, you're totally on your own there, I'm afraid. So, here comes the introduction, and then let's talk about mental health. Hello and welcome to episode 4 of Let's Talk About Mental Health TV. I'm Jeremy Godwin. Thank you so much for joining me. I don't know about you, but I'm someone who can definitely be prone to a bit of overthinking and negative thoughts. I mean, if you could see inside my head, you would be horrified. Who wants to listen to you?
You're not good enough.
You're fat. Nobody likes you. Who do you think you are doing a podcast on YouTube? Did I mention that you're fat? Hi, see, ya, hold tight. The thing about these kinds of negative thoughts and others is that you can either believe them or you can see them for what they are. They're your fears and insecurities manifesting because they're trying in their own weird way to protect you from harm. Except for that Spice Girls one that I shared with you, that's just because I spent half of my life walking around singing their songs to myself, so that's probably why that happens. In the podcast and on here on Let's Talk About Mental Health TV, I've said a few times before not to believe everything that you think. And that's kind of the whole point of today's episode. Some of the stuff that can go through our minds, especially about ourselves, can be absolutely horrifying. And when you're dealing with insecurities and fears, sometimes you can be saying things to yourself that hopefully you would never say to another human being. So why do we do it? Why do we speak to ourselves in this way? Why do we treat ourselves like shit when in fact, if we just show ourselves a little kindness and compassion from time to time, we'll usually find that that's all the momentum that we need to start feeling better about ourselves and to get past whatever is going on in our head and making us feel bad. So if I think back to those nasty little voices that I just shared from my own mind, I can either choose to believe what they're telling me, or I can choose to confront them, challenge them, and take away any power that they may have, which could look something like this. Who wants to listen to you? Well, my stuff isn't going to be for everybody, but there are thousands of people tuning into my podcast every week, so you know what? Some people do want to listen to me.
You're not good enough.
Well, I am actually. I mean, I may not be perfect, but nobody's perfect, including you picky bastard.
You're fat.
Really? I had no idea. Oh wow, thanks so much for telling me. That is new information. Pfft, bugger off. Nobody likes you. Well, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard because I am delightful. Look, I may not be for everyone, and that's fine, but there are definitely people who like me for me. Maybe nobody likes you because you're a bit judgy and nasty, so maybe you're just deflecting onto me, huh? Who do you think you are doing a podcast on YouTube? Well, I think I'm someone who is doing something that he enjoys rather than just, I don't know, sitting around complaining and tearing other people to shreds, like you are. Why don't you try doing something constructive and contribute some positivity out into the world instead of being such an asshole? Did I mention that you're fat? You did actually, but it's just so nice of you to bring it up again. You do realise that that means that you're fat too, right? Just saying, just making sure that we're on the same page here. Hi, see, ya, hold tight. Colours of the world, spice up your life. So here's my point with all of this. It wasn't just an excuse for me to crack out my Jerry Halliwell doll. And yes, I do have the full set, but anyway. So here's my point with all this. The way to deal with negative thoughts and overthinking is about challenging that utter nonsense that goes through your head, like thinking that you're unworthy. Unworthy says who? Well, that's you telling you that you're unworthy of being you, which, I don't know, to me makes no sense. And it's so utterly ridiculous that, well, it could very well break the matrix if you keep on thinking about it. Really, all of this stuff goes back to my 3 basic rules to live by that I talk about like a gajillion times a week, every episode in the podcast. And they are, do no harm to yourself or others. Be kind to yourself and others. Give more than you take from yourself and from others. So let's break those three things down, but still keeping it simple because the simplest approaches to mental health and well-being really are often the best. What I'm going to do is focus solely on the to yourself part of those three rules, because the stuff about how you interact with other people is a topic for a totally different video. So first point is do no harm to yourself. And I hope this one is fairly self-explanatory. But what I mean here is that unhealthy choices lead to unhealthy outcomes. And healthy choices, funnily enough, lead to healthy outcomes. And that applies to what you think about yourself as well. So if you can focus on cultivating more healthy thoughts about yourself and recognize the negative thoughts for exactly what they are, your fears and insecurities playing on your mind, and sort of trying to protect you in this weird and warped kind of way that actually makes things worse if you end up believing it. When you do that, when you focus more on the positive, you start to find ways to stop those negative thoughts by challenging them as they're forming, like I did in those examples just before. And that helps to stop those harmful thoughts from having any power over you, and it stops them in their tracks before they go any further. You do need to be vigilant and catch it when it's happening before it gets out of control. So reframe it and look at it and, call it out for what it is. It's like in The Wizard of Oz when they pull the curtain and see that it's just a man behind a curtain playing this, working this magical machine and lording his will over the land of Oz. Pull back the curtain and have a look, because half of the time the thoughts that are going through your head are complete and utter fabrications. You don't need to believe everything that you think, and it's about not letting those harmful thoughts take root and take control. Point number 2 is be kind to yourself. So here's what I suggest. Think about how you would hopefully treat your grandmother. You hopefully wouldn't call your grandmother a fat, worthless loser who nobody likes. Well, unless you're a disrespectful punk. So why the hell, if you wouldn't say that to your grandmother, why the hell would you say those types of names to yourself? Look, these thoughts can pop up out of nowhere, and sometimes we don't have control over them, but what you do have control over is what you do with the thoughts. And it's completely up to you what you choose to do with them. You can either give them your full attention, which then gives them power over you, or you can choose to let them go and replace them with positive thoughts. And that then takes away their power. The thing about negative energy and positive energy is that whichever one you focus on is what you will see more of, both within yourself and within the broader world. So if you choose to focus on the positive stuff and let go of the negative, you will find that there is much more and more to feel positive about, which is the best way that you can show yourself kindness and compassion. Plus, seriously, give yourself a break. You're not perfect and you never will be, because nobody is, and that's part of being human. So for the love of puppies, stop being mean to yourself and instead choose to be kind. My third point is to give more than you take from yourself. This is about taking that kindness thing one step further, and it's about the choices that you make in life. And whether or not they're actually helping you to make things better in the long run and steering you towards becoming the very best version of yourself possible. Now, that doesn't need to mean enormous big changes. It can, if you want it to. But what I'm talking about is the hundreds and thousands of little decisions and choices that you make every single day. What I mean is that it's like your phone battery. You can't just take and keep using the device without charging it every now and then. And I know that's a bit of a cliche and you see it all over social media, but what does it actually mean? Well, it's about actually putting the energy back in. It's about reinvesting in yourself. Actually, a good way to think about it is like your bank account. If you just keep on taking and taking out of your bank account, but you never actually top it up or put money aside for some of the bigger things in life, you end up just making life really difficult for yourself. You are actually robbing from your future happiness. You're stealing from yourself. So give more than you take. And I'm not just talking about financially here. I'm talking about in all 6 aspects of your overall well-being. Physical, mental, spiritual, social, emotional, and financial. Give more than you take and set yourself up for a better future. I truly believe in living for today, But that does not mean that you do so at the expense of tomorrow. The choices that you make need to be healthy choices that set you up for the best possible chances of success in the future. And then all that ties back to that negative thinking thing, because if you invest the time now and every single day to gently challenge your negative thoughts and instead replace them with positive ones, you're going to find that day by day, things improve just a little every single day. But like all things, if you take things one step at a time, you'll see your progress build from those little actions every single day. Small steps become something massive over the course of weeks, months, and years. So the choice, as with all aspects of your well-being, is completely yours. So, what choice will you make today? To quote an unknown author, train your mind to see the good in everything. Positivity is a choice. The happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts. So that's nearly it for this week. Next week's episode will be all about staying positive when you feel terrible or when bad stuff is happening. Kind of sounds like some of the stuff that's been going on for a little while now. So I do hope that you'll join me for that episode, which will be released on Wednesday, the 17th of February. Check out this week's episode of the Let's Talk About Mental Health podcast, episode 65, Let's Talk About Resistance, for a more in-depth look at different ways to stop resisting the stuff that's important for your well-being so that you can grow and be the best version of yourself possible. You can find more content at letstalkaboutmentalhealth.com.au, including full audio and transcripts for all past episodes, and that content is free. And find Let's Talk About Mental Health on Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest at LTA Mental Health. And while you're here, take a moment to subscribe to the Let's Talk About Mental Health channel here on YouTube. Thanks so much for joining me this week, and I hope to see you again next episode. Look after yourself and make a conscious effort to share positivity and kindness out into the world, because you get back what you put out. Take care and talk to you next time.